Morning. Danny Walker again. Wednesday morning. Beautiful day out there today. A few clouds around, but looks like it's going to be okay. Watched the news this morning. Forecast for the weekend looks good. Sunday might be a bit cloudy, but our Friday and Saturday supposed to be good, which would be nice. Go out there Friday night camping. Spend Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday night because Monday's a holiday. Bonus. So yeah, we might get it. Sprinkler rain Sunday, but we got a camper, we got tarps, a couple of tents, awnings to hang out under. I had a fella asking me about my grinding bits and hand tools that I use. I use all the four of them I've told you, and I get all my stuff from CC Specialty in Tennessee, I think they're in. He was asking, well, do you have to have all the different hand pieces for different sizes of burr bits? These are 1/4 inch burr bits. These are my big long ones, the long ones I use. This is what they call the aluminum hog one. I use it to get my main shapes ready. Then I'll use this finer one for detailing. And in little corners of transfers and corners of ports, I'll use the little 1/8 inch shank ones. Different shapes to them. There's several different shapes. Everyone has a different idea of, everyone likes different things. Once you get used to something, you kind of stick with it, but I try to see things different once in a while. So no, you don't need the different hand pieces. You basically, when you get these kits, you normally get the extra collets with them. And a lot of guys, after you use these a long time, I know you guys are all fairly new to it, or some guys have got new ones now, but you have to maintain them. My dad used to break a lot of the flexible shafts when he was grinding because he never used the foot pedals. The foot pedals are the way to go to control your speed. So you can get into a port and just start slowly and work your way around it or beside it or whatever. These are the flexible shafts. So he would not use the flex or the foot pedals. He'd just go in there straight in and just all of a sudden bang, 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 and the cutter freaking gets stuck. And then what happens is that this flexible shaft the burr bits gets caught on this end with the drive, and this is your motor end, and it twists this cable and wrecks it, and the thing stops driving. Yeah, so he used to go through a bunch of them. Oh, my hands are all dirty. Oh, man. So yeah, I take mine apart. You take them right out of, take the whole unit right out here off your motor end. This here is your motor end. You take the screw it off there and slide the cable out and grease it up. It comes with some certain grease Fordham gives you, but you can use any decent grease, lithium, white lithium or something like that. So I take them out every couple weeks and grease them up and just check them over on the hand. And it's just good maintenance. Your tools will last longer. These things aren't cheap. I do have extra flexible drives in case something happens to me. But I have 3 grinders set up, so if one fails, I just change my handpiece to the next one. The reason I have the three grinders is I have one grinder I have one handpiece on I use for my main shaping. My other one I'll have for my buffing, which is this one here that I put the sandpaper rolls on. Really good to get into corners for polishing and getting little bits of metal out of on the edges and stuff. These things are great. They're cheap. I buy them like hundreds in a bag at once. You just thread them on, wear out a bit, throw them away. Use them for chamfering pistons too. Works good. They come in different courses as well, different courses of the sandpaper. So yeah, I have the one hand piece for major hogging, my polisher, Then I have my other grinder I use for my transfer port, 90 degreer. This is a beautiful little piece. You got to get your right size bits to fit into here though. And you got to practice on some old cylinders first. You got to really go slow and just work it to the left and to the right, whatever works for you. If you're going reverse or forward, you can get left and right hand bits as well. But if you want to change from the 1/4 inch shanks that I use, I just like them because they're long. You can get into places with them and stuff. Nothing worse than something short you can't reach in there. Like a human being, eh? You gotta get a step for the cupboard to get up to the top one for the crackers. Ritz. I like my cheddar Ritz. My favorite. I used to steal them off Simon's dad all the time. I knew where they were. Okay, anyways, back to this, but the handpiece. So the handpiece here, where the cable goes in the end, it screws apart. And after you use it for a while, these things turn on a bit because the vibration, it makes these turn a bit. So you gotta once in a while just tighten them up a little bit. Everything's got to move around and play. So you take the end cap off. If you can see, okay? Yeah, excellent. Take the end cap off and pull out the shaft. It's got 2 bearings on it. I call a thrust washer. It's just a spacer washer to keep the bearing from the aluminum housing so the bearing doesn't wear into it. Then on the end is your collet holder. Unscrew it from the shaft. Should come off fairly easy. Yeah, just simply unscrew that. There you go. There's your little collet here. So this is the 1/4 inch one. You simply just put it in your 1/8 inch one. Into the holder of the collet. Taper it in up first. You'll figure it out, only goes one way. Screw that back on. And slide it back in the housing. You can put a little bit of grease on this. This one's brand new really, so it's still got some in there. Put you back in the end. And take your drive end cap, screw it back on. And you're ready to go to fit your little 1/8 burr bits. You got a nice little kind of round nose one here, and I'll put in. So we're doing some corner work on some ports on a 570 Husky. I'm doing 570 and a 575 and 576 were kind of unusual models. We ran a bunch of them here in the coast, the 575s and the 576s. Good saw, very smooth, fit the tree nice weight. Didn't have a ton of power, but sufficient enough for like 32-inch bars. I had one crew, that's all they ran was those saws. But unfortunately, we had some bearing failures and crankcase failures on them. They all broke off behind the clutch, between the back of the clutch and the back of the case. They all broke there. And I talked to a few of the engineers in Sweden about it. And they're like, oh yeah, well, we were gonna beef it up and try a different clutch on it and stuff. I said, well, I don't think the clutch is the problem. You gotta just beef it up or figure out where the vibration is coming from. Originally, I told you like 372s originally, we had cracking problems. My friend Magnus from Sweden came here. We figured out that the engineers, they only designed it for a 20-inch bar for Europe. When we started running long bars on it here, they cracked. And right here in my shop, he had a computer. He went into the engineering part of Husqvarna, and he showed me exactly where the stress would be running a longer bar on that crankcase. And that's exactly where they broke. It was quite interesting. So Husqvarna ended up sending over quite a few cases to me to switch them all over, just bottom ends with cranks on them. And after that, we never had a problem. And it's nice that they did it that way. And hopefully they continue with their effort to help us here on the West Coast with our problems with big bars. Yeah, rambled off about that, didn't I? Anyways, back to these handpieces. So yeah, let's put this 1/8 shank in here. It comes with a little thingy here to put in your handpiece to hold it while you turn it. But I use this little Allen wrench. I don't know why. Just had it around forever. All right, let's loosen your little tightening spot. It's like a drill chuck, man. So yeah, you can set your grinding stone in a little ways, but if you don't get it in enough, the vibration, and sometimes it'll come loose. So I put it in about halfway. The long 1/4 inch ones I put in all the way because they're long enough to do that with. So there you go. Couple minutes, you got it switched over, eh? Pretty handy. This is a bit of a larger one too. Like this handpiece, they do make it kind of a slimmer one. You notice like this 9-degree one is slimmer. But I don't mind it. I think this one was maybe this one was my newer one. Let's look at the other one. Yeah, this was the newer one. So it's actually a little slimmer. Yeah. Doesn't have this little piece that's sticking out, but I kind of like this piece because it put my fingers right on there. When you do it every day for hours, like I do, it's just, you just get comfortable with it, eh? You find your little spots and whatnot, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's the bit about changing bits. So yeah, nice little, these are nice tools. You know, I keep showing you stuff around here and stuff, but you look here, like where I sit. I didn't maybe show that to people, but this is what you call a pan of ice. This thing is awesome. It fits almost every cylinder. You know, then sometimes I just hold them by hand, but I fit my big belly in this little curved spot on my bench. I sit in a nice chair. But in front of that pan of ice, there's like a heater duct. I bought like a woodworker's, or my dad did, a woodworker's kind of vacuum. And it's outside with a big dryer hose to this furnace kind of vent we put into this table or bench. So it sucks out all the little fines and all that little oxide strip paper I use and stuff. And that's why I wear that mask like I showed you to yesterday in the video. So little things like this. I was going to show the Tin Man that about the kind of vacuum thing I use. It just keeps all the crap away. Like this room gets so cluttered with little pieces of paper and everything. I sweep it out every week or so. But yeah, just handy sitting down doing it. You know, I got the 1, 2, 3 foot controls for each motor. Works good for me. Guy was asking me too about 101 cart engines, SP125 chainsaw motors and stuff. Well, you know what? I think I kind of told you, my dad just did stuff on trial and error and measured stuff in inches and whatnot, and with dial indicator, and made himself jigs and stuff. So when he found something worked good, he kept grinding to that jig mark or template that he'd make. He's no professional like these. Like he's not an engineer or anything. I mean, my dad never graduated high school or anything, but my dad learned when he was a young boy. He grew up in a logging camp, and he was, his mom told him, stop hanging around the shop, you're gonna get hurt. But he learned how to run a locomotive, how to fix old, diesel generator engines and stuff in the camp. He used to hang around with this old guy named Tony. And Tony was kind of the camp handyman. He started the trains up in the morning and just took care of everything in the camp. In those days, you didn't call a guy from Finning to come up and fix it or anything. You did everything yourself. So that's how you learn. And that's how I've learned too. Hands-on with my dad. Experience in kart racing. I used to work at a high-performance kart shop in Toronto years ago. That's where I raced with Paul Tracy and Scott Goodyear. A couple guys that raced Indy cars. But yeah, that's how you learn stuff, man. I'm not fancy either. I don't have computer calculations and all that stuff, Mine's all done in kind of trial and error too, but But I do write stuff down, and I use it, the degree wheel, of course, and dial indicator. And I had a fellow, he wanted to know the numbers on a 372, a good build. I'll get back to you on that, bud. I got it written down. That book's at my dad's place, but I have a jig here that I use. But I'll get it all and show you. I got nothing to hide really. I have lots of work. It's all good. But yeah, back to the Mccullough. I am gonna do that. I'm gonna take. Here's an old blown up 101. Rod went through it. I got a couple more other ones laying around too. And unfortunately, this one I can't spin around with the degree wheel. As you can see, the rod went through it. Yeah, interesting on Mccullough's. Years ago, you could run 4 carburetors on them. You had your intake manifold on top, which ran the single carburetor from carts. This is an old Mccullough one. I just have sitting here. There's the manifold. There's the reed cage in it. So this would be bolted here. And there's your stock version of your Mccullough 101 or 91B. C, A, whatever they had years ago. So you could put, I actually have a manifold at my dad's place, and the carburetors sit in my truck. I'm supposed to clean for him and put kits in them because he's going to put dual carbs on my Mccullough racing side. He just built me with our last brand new 101 kart engine. So nice of him to do that for me, but you might see it this weekend. So anyways, the motors sat sort of like that on the cart. Some on an angle, some like that. When they sat like that, some guys ran 2 carburetors in the top, 2 carburetors in the bottom end through the stuffer plate area. That's a lot of carburation, eh? But you look inside these things, man. They had like, what do they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 8 freaking transfer ports, booster ports or whatever. And your exhaust port was pretty basic. This one actually had a compression release, which is cool. Looks like my dad made that one. Yeah, it's welded up. He welds them in there that he drills and taps them and puts a compression release in. And some of them, in the exhaust port in the corners, used to drill holes kind of sideways. And it was a trick thing he learned from, I think, his friend Jim Barbie down at Mccullough factory in the racing division. And that would just swirl pattern the exhaust better for the tuned pipe. Yeah, interesting stuff, man. But I'm gonna try to get into the old stuff a little bit more when I get some time, maybe during the summer here when the heat comes around and logging shuts down a little bit. But I also want to go get a lot of camping and some fishing and kart racing and quadding. So yeah, sometimes you don't have a lot of time for it all the time, especially when you build them all day and work in the mornings on them. So anyways, yeah, that's what I have for you today, man. Grinding tools, some porting stuff. Thanks again. I said it twice now in new videos. Thanks for all the subscribers. And I forgot to mention too, thanks Steve, Small Engine Saloon. He's helped me out with a little bit of stuff to learn on the YouTube channel. And he's got some great videos too. So check out Steve Small Engine Saloon. Tin Man's stuff has been great. He's got himself the Fordham grinder now, and he's going to be rocking the saws. He works full time too, so it's just his part-time gig too to help people out on the channel here and just to get people, if they're interested in it, to do it at home and learn it. And I've had lots of guys call me, and I just tell them this straight up, man. I don't have time to do it, but you don't want to ship something all the way across from the USA to do something you can do. You can learn how to do it. It's not hard. It's just nuts and bolts. Man, if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's kind of putting myself down. You know what I mean? There's books, there's videos. You don't even need a book anymore. You just go on videos. Watch us crazy guys working on this stuff, outrun them. It was fun last night outrunning that little saw. I was trying out a 372. A fellow was having problems with on hot starts, but I bucked a bunch with it. I didn't have a problem with it. But I used a little 550, not a Mark II, just a regular one. Not a real fancy chain or nothing, just a round tooth. And it's good when you're out cutting a bit dirty stuff in a pile because it doesn't get dull as quick as the chiseled chain, right? So that was enjoyable. I really shouldn't have been up there by myself, but I was. But I told Shelly where I was in case I broke down or God help me cut my leg off or something. I wouldn't do that. I'm real safe with the saw. I keep it away from me, and the chain's sharp. Dull chains are unsafe. And yeah, I just took it easy. Just bucked up a bunch, threw it in the truck, and down to the campsite and dropped it off, as you've seen in the video there. So anyways, have a good rest of the week. I better get out of here. Brother John will be going, doing your videos again instead of working. But it's on my own. I'm clocking in now. It's time to go. Keep your saw in the wood. Any questions, send them off to me. I try to answer as much as I can. If I haven't answered, I'm sorry. Last night I answered a few. I've been trying to do that now as I'm sitting at home watching a program or something at night before bed. Yeah, okay guys, gals, kids, people, keep your saw in the wood. Have a good day. Bye.